everyone, and welcome to Onigiri & Co. latest episode and last episode of 2023.
You are back on the podcast.
Yes! I really hope to be more often like in 2024, to be fair.
Yes.
This did not work out this year.
Yeah, no, it didn't. But also, that's because we were not used to you traveling so much. Now we know how you operate.
No.
I feel like you know all the tricks now. You know where to get good internet when you're in Bali, or how to get good internet. And I feel like you have your traveling life a bit more sorted.
That's true. I kind of have like I know how to travel with like 2 suitcases and a backpack right now, which
Yeah.
is like it's a plus. It's a huge
Yes.
plus, and I have a lot of gear with me. So most of my actual luggage is like drones, cameras, tripods, stuff in
Yeah.
general. And then there's like 7 t-shirts.
70 shirts or 7 t-shirts?
7 t-shirts.
I knew I was just being sarcastic.
I actually have, I don't know why, but I have like more socks than underwear for some reason.
Okay.
I'm like, what happened? Anyway, so
I'm interested in
much
the ratio
information.
though. Is that like double? Is it
Kinda, yeah. I don't know why. Like I was checking it out and I'm like, how did this happen?
To be fair, I don't know if it happens to you, but socks, you always lose one. So then you can recombine, and if you have more, you can recombine your pair.
I actually have some recombined. Like I found 2, and I was like, they have different numbers on them, and it turns out that those are the only ones that fit together because the rest is fitting. I'm like, I guess this is life now.
It is life.
Like they're both black, so you cannot see those numbers on them. So I'm like, okay, this is fine.
This is fine. Well, thanks for coming today. It's been a while. Last time we recorded something. So, for people who just joined the podcast now, let's say they've never listened to any other episodes, Lexi was my co host for a long time. You were coming a lot, and this year became busy. And last time we recorded something together was when you were in Bali. So, that's quite a while, I think.
Oh my God, really? That was like in May.
Wow, really? Jeez.
Oh God.
I thought you were going to say
failed.
August.
No, because I remember I was coming back 1st of June because 7th of June was my 30th birthday and I was taking my family to Disneyland.
True.
So it had to be May. I'm so sorry for this.
That's okay. It makes this episode a lot better. And for those who don't know, Lexi is in Australia at the moment.
It's funny, we're in the same city, but not in the same house right now.
That's what I was going to say. Why are we not recording? It's because I really wanted to use Riverside, which is the platform you see I record the video that you see right now, if you're watching the video. And yeah, that's why. I was like, stay at home.
Yeah, she doesn't let me leave. I don't understand. No, I'm joking. And Nellie's fine. She's actually like driving a lot to meet up with me. So yeah.
It's been fun. It's been fun.
It's been fun.
I liked it. So what's the episode about?
Yes. So the main idea was to do a recap of the year. But at the same time, I think you had a little bit of an inspiration out of what I said a week ago.
Yeah.
So let me just paint a picture for anyone who's listening or watching. I'm going to be really graphic about it. So yeah. I was coming back from Sydney, and you know, like sometimes you sit somewhere and you're like, oh, I've been here before. And I just literally sat at the Chinese restaurant at the Sydney airport, and I just take out my laptop and I order my tea, and I look up and I realized that I was here 14 months ago, and I was miserable, tired. I hated my life. Everything was awful. I was wondering, how will I survive? And now I sit in the same exact place. And I just like looked at my pictures and stuff, and I was in the same spot. And I was happy. I was feeling better than ever. And I realized that this last 14 months have been the worst 14 months of my life, probably. And here we are. I'm happy.
Yes.
I'm absolutely feeling great. And I just said everything like this. Like I was writing a newsletter actually. So I just wrote it to the newsletter. So if someone's not following it, this is the time. And I just wrote to Nelly, like, I just realized something. And it was really eye-opening.
Yes. And also, you know, this is the time of the year where in general people just recap the year, like what we want to do today. Yeah. But it's also when they only talk about their achievements. And I'm like,
Mm.
well, obviously we're going to talk about your achievements this year because you've done some cool stuff. But I was thinking before it got good, it went bad. So I
To
was,
be fair, it was bad most of the time. I just realized how good it is while at the airport.
yes, well, that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but before we get to that recap, I asked on the Onigiri and Co channel on Instagram if people had questions because it's been a while since you've,
It's been a while.
been on
Yes.
the podcast, and they're mainly directed. I mean, they were mainly for you. I said, "Do you have any question for May on High?" So you.
Oh, and by the way, it turns out like I was checking where did you put it, and for me it was saying that this feature is not available for everyone yet.
Really?
Yeah, I couldn't ask a question.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I wanted to write something funny and just leave you there so you would check it today and just be like, "Are you kidding me?" But it said that it's not available for me. But yeah, guys, you should totally join our channel on Instagram.
Yes, definitely. So do you want to get like straight into it? Should I go from the
Okay,
most recent or the oldest first?
go through the ones that you want to go through. I'm here
Okay.
to answer.
Okay, let's go from the oldest to the newest.
Okay.
So the first question, I don't know if I should tell. Well, I'll say it's from Bad Manufacturing. He's actually good at what he's doing, but his Instagram is Bad Manufacturing. And his question is, what's the last FPV part that you bought? That's a while ago.
Wait, no, it's not a while ago. I'm thinking because I was preparing for the trip here.
Ah.
Does it count if it's a drone? Because I bought the iFlight Defender 125, this Cinewhoop one.
Okay.
So it counts like a drone pad?
Yes. It's a
Okay.
big part.
Big
But that's
pad,
what it is.
the entire drone. No, I bought a walk snail system to it because they sell it with DJI O3, but I don't have DJI, so I bought walk snail and then I paid someone to exchange it because I didn't want to deal with it.
Okay, fair enough. I don't remember what's the last FPV pod that I bought.
Yeah, think about
Do,
it.
do
I'm
you
like,
think I should answer the questions as well, or it's boring?
answer, tell me. I mean,
Actually, at work, we got the DJI Avatar. That's probably the last FPV thing I actually bought. Everything else I had like, spare.
people
Well,
in listening to this podcast
they're gonna be
is
like, what?
Avatar considered FPV part?
It is
I'm
technically.
petty. I'm so petty about it. Okay, yeah.
But I actually didn't buy it myself, so I don't know if that counts, to be honest. Well,
Yeah.
speaking of parts, the next question is not really a question, just someone called Helioptero FPV, and he just wrote motors.
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 Okay, T-motor,
T-motor.
best motors. Thank you.
Yes. For how long have you been flying T-motors? For quite a long
Oh
time.
my God. Yeah, like 5 years. 5 years. Yeah, all of my racing drones always had T-motors on them.
Yeah.
My long range, you saw it, has T-motors, the ones for long range on it, and my freestyle has Pacer motors on it. Yeah, T-motor Pacer. They're really pretty.
Okay.
And they have a little pentagram on them.
Ah,
I mean, they say it's a star, but I'm like, no, it's a pentagram.
Yes, it's like when the motors for with Boat Grinder, they had
Oh, they had a pentagram on it. Yeah.
They did. Then it's a question from my friend Sam, who's known on Instagram as Jazz XP. He's also a patron of the podcast. So,
Yeah,
hey,
thank you, Sam.
He's asking, what's your favorite all-time setup, given what else was around then? So I assume even when you started, like, that was a long time ago. So I guess your favorite setup would be closer to our years. No?
Yeah, my favorite setup is what I have right now, to be fair.
Yes.
But I will tell you about my first setup because that was my ultimate favorite and it was flying with me for a long time because I couldn't afford anything else. It had RCX motors, like really old. It had the PCB board in the frame, that old. We're talking
really?
that old. Yeah,
Jeez.
it was PCB frame in the frame. And it was like no name frame, really. It was from Banggood. Oh, I remember those really awful times. It had a back on like a separate board.
Oh.
That old. It was flying on multi-wii.
On multi-wii?
Yeah.
Wow.
It had like a metal camera, which to be fair, like I missed the metal cameras because when I hit something, this thing was surviving. Now whatever I hit, it's gone. So this, and it had those RCX motors that had this really tiny issue, which was sometimes the bells of the motor were just flying out by themselves.
The flying bells. That's a tiny issue.
Yes, but it was a really pretty drum.
Yes.
I loved it.
I'm
And I was
curious
flying
how
so long.
heavy it might have been.
I have no idea. It was 250 millimeters. Like
Oh,
back then, we weren't
wow.
even saying 5 inch. So it
Yeah.
was using those really old like Gemfin propellers that if you looked at them wrong, they were breaking. Especially in the winter, if you were putting them on and you were holding them too hard, they would break
Yes.
before you even put them on.
I think that's the one that
Those
Zoe
times.
referred to in the last episode as well, like because they were in that material and that was quite explosive.
Yes. This thing was exploding in random. It was so good. Okay, come on. It was fun times. Fun times.
Do you miss it?
Kinda, yeah, because everything works now. I'm like, can it just explode in random, please?
And flying
So good.
bells.
Oh, and the flying bells. First time it happened, I did not know, and I messaged like on a forum, and I said what I have, and some guy was like, "Yeah, that they do that." And I'm like, "What do you mean they do that? This shouldn't be a thing."
Yeah.
Yeah.
It reminds me of there was a brand of motors that let me remember what was the problem. Because it was a different attachment system, not the motors to the frame, but like the props to the motors. And when they were flying, because of the rotation of the motors, it was undoing the screws of the props, so then the props will just eject. But I don't remember. Why am I'm going blank right now. I'll look that up and I'll talk about it in the new year, because yes, there was something
That's
that
so
like that.
good.
I know. Yes, because they didn't think that and they were like, crap. So then they had to redo it and they were like, okay, now we got it. They were actually good motors once they were done again. I have to check. I hope I'm not dreaming this, but I have a memory. I really
Okay.
have a strong memory of that. So I'll double check that for the new year.
I remember when the motors had like a clockwise and counterclockwise windings or something, that you had a screw on top and it had to go to the right direction. Otherwise, you would not be able to put it on. Those were
Yes.
fun. I think
Yes.
those were also doing it a little bit.
Mm.
They were unscrewing a little bit because I remember I had to check every once in a while if my props are still on.
Oh yeah. And when they're getting undone, you hear like
Yeah, yeah.
That's what it was.
Oh, that happened so much often. Like I remember during racing when people were really like knowing that this is the sound.
Yes.
Now no one would know what's going on.
Yeah, I haven't heard that sound for years now. For years.
Yeah,
So,
unless user error, but
yes, obviously. It's getting better. You were right. I'm happy though. I'm not
yeah,
like you. I
yeah.
don't miss the old days. So the
Good.
next question is not FPV related. I'm just getting them in the order people wrote them. So it's more about your recent lifestyle. It was like, do you have an end game? Oh, sorry. The question is by Sounds Like Crisps.
I like that.
Me too. And the question is, do you have an end game for your nomad lifestyle?
Do I look like a person with a plan?
Every
For those
time.
listening, just check my Instagram and tell me if I really look like a person with a plan. I don't know. I'm kind of looking for a place for myself, to be fair. Like, I don't know what to do
Mhm.
fully. There's a lot of possibilities, and I'm kind of using the fact that this is the time, and it seems like my success is just going up. So I'm gonna ride this horse for a while.
Okay, that's a good answer. Obviously, I don't have a nomad lifestyle, so this was not a question for me. Then we had people being really creative, including Mr. Machi Lorenzo. That's how I would read it. He said, if you could add a word to the dictionary, what word would it be?
I need a word in between when someone is best, how to say it. So usually you say that, oh, this person is my friend or my best friend. I need a word in between for that.
Mm.
Or like when you say that I love my friends, I need a word to describe the love to your friends that is not romantic love. Whenever I talk about someone that I love, like I'm saying that I love you, and some people are asking like, is something going on between you? And I'm like, I really need a word for between this.
Okay. So you have the concept, but you haven't found
I
the
have the
word yet.
concept of the word. Yeah, I bet if there is no such word, otherwise it would be in the dictionary, and I did check.
Maybe there's a language in which it exists. So if
True.
anyone speak a language in which that word exists, let us know.
Yes, and can we
Um,
translate it somehow? Or Engli do it like pierogis.
yes. It's like what I told you the other day. Apparently, the German people have a sentence that says "I'm visited enough." When you know, I don't know. I need to fact check this because I read that and I'm like, this is brilliant. I am visited enough. You can go.
Yeah, actually, you know that in some Scandinavian country, if someone asks you how are you doing, alive or surviving
Really?
or breathing is a really valid answer.
That's awesome.
And I'm like, I'm gonna still be doing this. Like, I think it was like a whole sentence, like I'm standing and breathing or something like this. And I was
That's
like,
pretty
this is really good. I want to use it. Because every time it's like, oh, how are you? And like, oh, I'm great, thank you. And you're dead inside, really.
Mm. That's good.
Yeah.
That same person had another original question. I think I might guess. I'm not sure. Well, anyway, I wanted to guess yours, but I'll let you answer. What would be your theme song if you had one?
Painted Black, but played on cello and violin.
Oh, fancy. Does that exist?
Yes.
Oh, I'll
It's
check
on
it
my
out.
yeah, it's on my Spotify playlist called The World is Burning, and I like that.
Did you call it that?
It's called like that, yeah. It looks really cool when you have like two screens at work and you put Spotify on one.
Okay. I'll check it out. Why are you cool? So, next question is Rue FPV, and asked what event or moment got you into flying. What's flying mean to you? That's deep.
It was
That's the different question.
2014. It was
Mhm.
2014. And I was working on like a video production for a theater. And you know, like imagine Jack Sparrow, but in like fancy clothing of 2014.
Okay.
You see him. Okay, good. So this is the director of the theater that I was talking to. And he literally looked at me and he said, I've heard about those things, drones. Can you do it? Like with real movements of Jack Sparrow?
Yes.
It's that. And I look at the guy and I'm like, sure. And then I come back to the office and I'm like, guys, we're doing this now because I said so. And back then, like now, I love my DJI Mini 3. Okay, it's great. I can see things that I'm doing. Back then, I could not. So you had to go up, do the shot, go down, check the memory card, realize that you are really bad. So you go up again. It took us 3 days for 15 seconds of a footage, by the way.
Yeah.
Really amazing experience. So I say to the guys, like, it's great. Like, totally love how it works. Like, it's great. But if I could see what the drone sees, that would be so much better. So at the time, one of my friends just came back with the drone and like the first FPV drones. Okay, like maybe not like first, like 2014 technology. Let's call it technology. Technology. Put it somewhere. And they had like the Fat Shark goggles that had like gummy things on the eyes. So if you took them off, especially if you had makeup, you looked like a panda. It was great. So they put it on my face and they just go up and down. And I just sit there like, I'm going to do it my entire life.
Yes.
This is great.
Yes.
So I think it just gave me like, you know how it is like, I don't come from like really well-off family. I actually come from family that really struggled. And I really wanted to be a pilot, but to get pilot license, that's enormous money. It's huge.
Yeah.
And this kind of was like a shortcut for me to be a pilot of something, to fly anything. And it was still really, really hard for me to collect money to build one. But it still was a shortcut to what I really wanted. And funny enough, like now I can say that I'm a pilot of things. I was really piloting things.
Yeah.
And it's just because I picked this drone into my hands in 2014. And I'm like, wow, this is so amazing.
It's because you worked for Jack Sparrow.
Yes. I worked for Jack Sparrow Theaters. Yeah.
And then
the guy was so happy to see this drone footage, by the way.
Yeah. He was a visionary.
Yeah, I was looking at him while we were playing the video, and when the drone footage was there, he like smiled and he was like, "Yay!"
That's so
like a little child, you know.
I can't believe you did it like technically line of sight, and then had to check, and I was like, okay, I'll put it back up. and then land and
Yeah,
check.
it was a
That's
nightmare. Don't do
yeah.
it. Don't try.
No, well, there's no
It was
point
so bad.
anymore unless you want to
No.
suffer. So do
Oh, it
you
was suffering.
so do you think what FPV means to you is that well you got a foot in the piloting in the aircraft industry, or does it mean
Yeah,
something else as well?
it meant freedom,
Hmm.
really. Because I usually was told, like, you cannot do this because we don't have money, you cannot do this because you're a girl, you cannot do this because whatever. And I was like, I can do that.
Hmm. You really found
Yeah.
your thing.
Yeah.
Nice. The next question is from Jared D. Jared Y 21 or Jared D 21.
Hi,
Um,
Jared.
and he says, "What purpose do you hope your efforts are going to?" In brackets, just curious.
I really hope to show not only like small girls, but also small boys that everything is possible and that they can do whatever they want to do. And it doesn't matter if someone tells you that you cannot do it because you're a girl, you're a boy, you're too old, too young, to whatever. You can do whatever you want. Because if I can get to where I am right now from where I came from, absolutely everyone can. So I hope this is the part of it. And the second part is that I really hope that it will normalize women in male dominated industries
Mm-hmm.
and make it more normal. I really hope that with the things that I'm doing, the women and men that come after me will not have to deal with even half of the stuff I had to endure. That's my hope, really high hope.
Yes, very nice. I approve.
Thank
I
you.
agree or whatever. I concur.
I concur.
No, really nice. That was actually a good question to finish the Q&A, because that's all the questions we
That
have.
was the end.
Because
Okay.
yes, we have a small
Yay.
channel on Instagram. We need more people come over. People then
And
ask the
apparently
question.
some of them couldn't ask questions, so
Yeah,
I
apparently.
cannot. I
Yes,
cannot.
that might explain.
Yeah.
And if you're a patron of the show, you can come on the Discord and you can ask any question anytime, and they can be answered on the
Yeah,
episode. But
just
also,
tag
yes,
us if you have a question to a specific person.
yes, as well. Yes, exactly. So that was fun. And well, I was thinking for the second part of the podcast, that's when we sort of recap the year, and it's I think you had shared a reel. I don't know if it was this year or last year, when it was like, oh, this is the time of the year where everybody is talking about achievements, but it's okay if all you did was going through the year. And that's why I was like, it would be nice to do the recap, not only to be like, we've done this and that, because also I don't want this to be boring,
No,
but
no.
also to show that not everything is always fun all year round.
Yes. A lot of things are not fun. Not
Yeah.
fun.
So, and then we'll talk about the podcast, because the podcast went well. So, but
Yes,
if
yes.
you
Okay, so
want to start, you can go for it.
just so everyone listens and you're like, oh no, guys, you're gonna be a downer. So we're gonna start down, but we're gonna go up. So
Yes.
if you are in a position in which you think everything is really bad right now, maybe this will give you some type of an idea that things can change within 14 months for me. So as I mentioned, 14 months ago, I was in Sydney. I was coming back from an expo. I felt really tired. I was having a 15-hour day, I think, on the expo, and I was charged with packing a 300-kilogram aircraft into a box, and there were
Mm,
just two of us.
mm,
Usually, this is done by six people,
mm,
and there were just two of us. I was miserable where I was. I was in a lot of debt. I was really depressed, tired, feeling like I'm stuck. I will have to do this thing all the time because I'm in so much debt and I'm in so much trouble. And I think a month later, after this situation, when I was thinking that I'm stuck and I'm just gonna die miserable, I also got made redundant in a way,
mhm,
and my visa for Australia was finishing. I didn't have like my promised visa did not come
mm,
ever.
mm,
So I had to leave the country, but I did not have any money for this. So they started to talk about making the company smaller and putting all the pilots on the athlete contract, which were kind of like, I kind of knew it's not going to happen too fast. Like I literally got my contract like 3 months ago, four,
mm,
maybe four.
mhm,
So I was scared, I was miserable, I was in a huge loads of debt. Because if you remember, like I moved to Australia, so I had to sell everything that I had in Germany. And like when you buy something for 200 euros, it's not gonna get sold for 200 euros, even if you used it just for a month. So I had to sell everything that I had, and I moved to Australia. And in Australia, I was supposed to get some help, which I didn't. And when I had to borrow some money from my family to actually make it to Australia. And I rented an apartment, and it was absolutely empty. So I had to buy washing machine, fridge, everything, which actually did not help my debt. So it didn't matter how much I would be earning, because I had to spend this stuff on like really basic things. Like I had to wash my clothes, I had to be able to cook myself a dinner, things like that. So by the moment in which they started talking about making the company smaller, I just finished having real basics in my house.
Like the
Like,
fridge.
yeah, so when you were visiting me first time, I didn't even have a bed. I was having like a air mattress that I got at Kmart for
Yeah.
like $50, something
Yeah.
like that. So that was the situation, and I had to sell it all again and move out of Australia. So everything that I bought, I had to again sell. And at this point, I think Mommy Universe actually was like, okay, you had a little bit enough, didn't you? So yeah, there was this company, the other company, Jetson, that contacted me, and they were like, hey, would you like to join us for the things? And I was like, oh, okay. You know that I'm really far away, and they're like, oh, we're gonna pay for you to come to Europe, and I'm like, well, that's gonna help a lot right now.
Yeah.
So I agreed to this, and I went to Italy, and I was even more miserable.
Yeah, we did. That's the first episode we did together,
Yeah,
or even
yeah.
this year. And it was called "Goal Setbacks Are Okay,"
Oh yeah.
because I didn't know. We finished recording, and you were not well, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to publish it, and also I don't know what title to put.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah,
was not well at the time. I was
yeah.
totally not well. So, yeah, 3 months in, I just quit, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go to Ireland and run away from all of my problems.
Yes. No, you didn't
So,
run away
yeah,
from your problems. I said
kind of
yes.
did. Kind of did.
I thought
Kind
you
of
were
did.
going to say, I'm going to regroup or something, and then
I
you said
regroup.
something.
I
Yes.
regrouped. So I moved to Ireland to my sister, and I was helping her out with her stuff because she has, she has a child. My nephew's really great, and I was just helping them out with a lot of things. And I was just sitting there. And my sister is actually a psychologist,
Hmm.
so you know how it is, like when you sit there. And, she was literally like, "So tell me,
That's actually
what's
good.
going on in this
Yeah.
fluffy head of yours?"
Yes.
So I literally I remember I was talking to her for like 3 hours straight. Like my her husband came back home, and he just saw us talking. He just closed the door back. I was like, I'm not dealing with this. So yeah, I really felt lost. I was heartbroken. I was lost. I was in a lot of debt. I didn't know what to do with my company, because literally since COVID, my company just went downhill.
Yeah.
And that was also part of the thing that got me into a lot of trouble, and a lot of other things that came on during COVID.
Yeah.
And I was really just, I was ready to give up on everything and just be like, can I just, I don't know, be a housewife, find a wealthy husband or whatever, just have kids and deal with that. And my sister just looked at me and she was like, yeah, you're not well. We need to talk about it. And I'm like, no, I can be a wife. And my sister was like, no,
But she
no.
also know it's not that she knows that it's not that easy either because she has a kid.
Yeah, I know. But see, the thing is, like, I never wanted to get married or have kids. Like, I still don't want to.
That's true.
So when she heard that, I said, well, I can be a wife and just have kids and deal with this. She was like, okay, this is enough.
Yes.
So she literally she had a really big talk with me, and we discussed it. And it's really interesting because actually when I quit Jetson, the same day I got two job proposals for like working remotely, actually being paid more for a little working less. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna just take that because I need money to live.
Yeah.
So I was working with those with one of those companies actually, and they were paying pretty okay. So it was paying my bills and a little bit of my debt. And at the time, my sister was like, okay, you have a little bit more money right now, yeah? And I'm like, yeah,
Still
not
in
really,
debt.
but yeah, still in a lot of debt, but yeah. So the thing is also I don't pay myself like a lot
Hmm.
out of my company because I don't want to pay too much tax. So
Yeah.
at this time, my sister said, okay, is there any real in-person community that you can go to of people who do exactly the same thing as you do? And I'm like, why? Why can't you help me? And she's like, because I don't understand half of the things that you are saying.
Mm. Yeah.
So I knew that there is a creator house in Bali. And I decided to, okay, I'm going to buy a ticket. I'm going to book the place for 6 weeks and I'm just gonna go. I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm just gonna work there, kind of think about things. It's a little bit cheaper than in Ireland, so I'm just gonna go. And that was a really life-changing experience. To be fair, like I met so many people that have been helpful, had a
Hmm.
lot of ideas for my business, and there were like a lot of there's a series of unfortunate events, and there's also a series of really fortunate events right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, whenever something was happening that was not okay, uh, Mommy Universe was like, okay, hear me out. I'll give you this, okay? And
Hmm.
each time she was like, I'll give you this, it was actually a better thing than the last time. And I think it was kind of connected with the fact that each time I felt something in my gut that something's not wrong, I was like, I'm not dealing with this.
Hmm.
So that's why I quit Jetson because I was like, this is not gonna end well. That's why I wanted to start dating again, but then I was like, okay, this is wrong. So I was like, I'm out, and I went to Bali, and just a lot of things were like, Mommy Universe was like, good girl, good girl.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, there was a lot of things like I cried so much.
Oh
I
yeah.
had a broken heart. I was still really lost in everything, but spending those 6 weeks with like-minded people and just making notes of all of their ideas for the business and for other things, it helped me immensely. And it made me feel understood in a way in which
Hmm.
I haven't been understood ever before.
Hmm.
Because there's a lot of FPV pilots who are saying, oh, yeah, I do YouTube too.
Hmm.
But it's like, I'm posting my DVR from racing.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, it's not really the same, but okay.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I mean, YouTube has been my only job since like 2020, plus the LSP thing. But yeah, so it was really eye-opening, and I think during the year, I don't know, you see it from the outside, so I think I grew a lot as a person.
Yeah.
I started to really understand what it means to love yourself and to be nice to yourself. Because I always like, I think we're all guilty of this. Like, we want to be treated in a certain way,
Hmm.
like I want to be a princess, but I will not treat myself as a princess, you
Mm.
know? So like I was today I was talking actually with a friend of mine, Gwenda, I told you about her.
Hmm.
So I was giving her some of her stuff and we went for a coffee and she asked me, so how was Sydney? And I said, well, actually, first night I took myself on a nice dinner overlooking the harbour and the Sydney Opera. And then I took myself to see the opera and then to the opera for the Great Gatsby. And she was like, oh, that's great. And I just realized while talking to her, I was like, that was probably the best date of my life. I should take myself on dates more often.
Mm. Yes.
And then I wish someone took me on a date like that.
That's me.
Um, yeah.
I mean, it's not the same, but it's a friend date.
It's a friend date. It's enough. I mean, I take my sister on a date, so it's fine.
Yes.
So yeah, I just kind of realized this year I started doing more things by myself. Like I asked people, "Hey, do you want to go to the cinema and watch Hunger Games with me?" Just Bruno wanted to go, and he was like, "Yeah, I went because you shouldn't be going alone." And I'm like, "I would go alone. I just asked you guys to be nice."
Yes.
So I do a lot of things alone. I treat myself in the way I want to be treated. Like I'm really showing myself the love that I want to receive. And some people really said like, "Oh, you're a little bit too picky," and I'm like, "I'm not picky. I deliver what I require."
Mm.
So that's this thing. So yeah, my dating poll is like I shared on my story some time ago. It's a desert. There's nothing there. Uh, but I'm fine with it because I'm really happy in the way I am in now. Because it sounds stupid, but now I'm receiving the love that I always wanted to receive,
Hmm.
and I do feel loved. and it doesn't matter that it's not really love coming from another person, it's coming from me. And I really do feel it, and I feel great about it. I know that a lot of people say like, oh yeah, like, oh, in TV you say like, oh yeah, you deserve it, you love yourself, buy this thing. And it's like, it's not about buy this thing.
Mm.
It's about the other things that we are doing. Like, the love languages. I think we discussed it on the lunch. So my love languages is acts of service, quality time, and words of affirmation.
Yeah.
So I'm doing for myself, like if I have more time, I will do something for the Lexi of tomorrow. So Lexi of tomorrow doesn't have to deal with it. Or sometimes I'm not feeling well and I'm thinking, Lexi of tomorrow will take care of this. But I'm not doing it like the Lexi of 100 days in front is really screwed right now. I'm just
Yeah.
doing it in a really loving and nice way. I'm spending quality time with myself and I'm telling myself nice things. Whenever I do something good, I'm like, good job, Lexi, you did well.
Yeah.
So I literally give myself the love that I always wanted to have, and I want to say it, and please, no one get it wrong. I've never received such a thing, and I like that.
That's good. I just wanted to say I have allergies, and
Mm,
because on video it looks
you're
like I'm
like,
crying, but I think I have a dust in my eye right
oh
now, and I'm just
no,
like, ah. But
no,
I mean, your story is really touching, but I'm not crying. It was like I need to
fine,
say it before
fine.
people think she's sobbing. Yeah,
No.
I think it's the worst time at the moment in Melbourne to have allergies. Anyway,
Yeah.
um,
So yeah,
yes.
it was really the worst year of my life, to be fair.
I hope for a while it will stay like that, like the worst year, and
Hopefully,
then
hopefully,
from now on you
hopefully.
build. But
So
yeah,
yeah, like it's so weird to think about it, but really when I was in Sydney, I was starting to write this newsletter and I realized that I'm in the same place, but I'm in a really different place mentally.
yeah,
And it took a lot, a
yeah,
lot of work, a lot of series of fortunate events.
yeah,
But this series of fortunate events actually came from the fact that I was working so hard for so many years.
yeah,
So it
yeah,
wasn't that I was lucky and it was like overnight success. Uh,
yeah.
there were just a lot of things happening that happened because I was doing a lot of things for so long and I was doing so many things.
Yes,
And some of them started to work, and I'm just kind of amazed at how it all happened.
yeah,
Like I had some of the pinch me moments, like with the jet suit,
yeah.
getting the offer from Future Play, which amazing, and you should guys check it out because it's really an interesting website of Future Play. They took everything, machine and athlete, FPV drone racing included. Fun.
Yeah, yeah. And you're
Yeah,
an ambassador, an interviewer or something like that for
yeah,
them, correct?
yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like the face of the company. So it was really just interesting to see how 14 months could change from my lowest to I think I'm pretty much riding high right now.
Nice.
I
That's
hope.
good. That's
I
good.
hope.
And I wanted to come back on for people who didn't follow the transition between you're in depth and oh you're flying to Bali. It's because in between you just said there are things you
Yes.
had worked in a long term
Yes.
that finally,
Yes.
because it didn't happen like January and then February you're in Bali. It happened over the course
Yeah.
of
It
uh
happened over a course of some time.
yes,
Yeah, and
and
to be
yeah.
fair, like I'm still not financially great.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah,
I'm actually much better. Like I finished. It's almost the end of the year, so I'm gonna say I finished. My financial goal is there.
yeah.
I'm just having like my mom to pay back, but she's
Yes,
fine with it. I'm paying her like every month, so we're fine.
yes.
So I'm there. Like I paid 4 debts this year
Okay,
out of
okay.
5, so I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, definitely. Well done.
Yeah, thank you,
Good.
thank you.
And you're right, you grew a lot. Me, I don't know if I saw you grow, but the feeling I got, and so if you feel like you grew, that's good. It's like sometimes you would tell me things that you were doing again, and it was a good thing. Like it's things you used to like doing, and you went back to
Yeah.
them. You know,
That was actually because of you. Remember, we had the conversation for the other podcast that I was doing, and I need to come back to it. And you said that
Mm.
you wanted to do things that were making you happy as a child,
Yeah, yeah.
and that it made you connect with your inner child and stuff. And I was like, Nelly's right. I should do this.
Yay. Well, that's good, and I'm glad you did it. So, and I witnessed it. Like I actually forgot I had said that, but yeah, I do it. So yeah, well done. And I'm so happy to, well, first that you're back on the podcast for the the end of the year
Yeah.
episode, which is such a growth, to be honest, though, since the first one from this year, which I invite everybody to go back to.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't
I'm
think
gonna listen to it and I'm gonna be like, wow, I was so depressed.
there was no video at the time, because this year you at the Creator House, you introduced me to this platform we're currently recording on. So I need you to go back to the Creator House more often.
I'm going.
um,
For the same thing. I want them to help me with my business again.
That's good. But yeah, your journey improved the podcast, even though you were not part of it as a host.
But
You improved it. So it's
yay.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Sorry for a downer, guys, and a little bit of a longer story. It's just really. I hope that if you are in a bad place right now, you know that with enough work and just going outside of your comfort zone, you can get out of it because so many things changed.
yes.
14 months only.
And I think the point that we're talking about this as well, because people know that we've been. What's going on?
I have no idea.
So sorry for the people who don't watch the podcast. It just had a special effects of balloon. Is that because you said end of the year? What did you say? Did you?
At the end of the year, right?
I wonder
Yeah.
if that triggered
Happy.
celebration. No.
Celebrate.
Anyway,
Yeah.
you should totally watch that moment. I hope it records in the video because
That was so.
That's so
like,
funny.
what's going on?
Especially because we were just like talking about being down, and then you have balloons.
Okay.
But yeah, I was just gonna say that people know that Lexi and I we like talking about mental health, and so especially end of the year, sometimes people, the fact that we should be celebrating, it puts lots of pressure on people. Like, you have to be happy, but you don't have to be happy. And also, if you're in one of those phases in your life where it's not going really well, I like what you said earlier, Lexi, is that you said Mommy Universe was sending you little good things, but you were also in a mindset of, even though you were not feeling great, you were still looking for ways and small opportunities to get just a little bit more up, and then a little bit more up.
Yeah,
So,
whenever I'm really down, I'm saying yes to almost every opportunity I get,
okay.
just to see, unless I have a gut feeling that this is probably not a good idea.
Yeah, that's a really good advice. And if you start a business, I have been told this as well by my employer. He said, when you start a business, as long as it's within your range of skills, even if it's a skill you don't really have yet, but it's the kind of skills you think you can provide, you should say yes. So people like, can you do that? Yes. And then you figure out how you do it.
Like with the drones. Yeah.
Yes.
Like, can you do the drones? Yeah, sure.
Exactly. So
yeah, like also, like, just to kind of add to how bad it was, I spent last Christmas alone and the New Year's alone in a foreign country in which I didn't speak the language of. It was great. And this year I spent my Christmas with Nelly, and I couldn't be happier. It was great. I loved every second of it, and I was really, really happy.
It was good. I was so glad to see you there, and for the little bit like humoristic touch. So I don't know if people know that, but I am partnered up with the brother of Snake FPV, which is a pilot who used to fly in the mythical times. And so obviously Christmas dinner, I was with my partner's family, so Snake FPV was there, and then this time Lexi was there, and I'm like, if I had been
we were
told...
sitting next to each other, actually. That was the most hilarious part, and Nelly was just in front of us.
And I was like, this is crazy. If I had been told back in 2016, 2017 that one day I would have Christmas with these two people, I'd be like, what's going on? So it was fun. I liked it.
Yeah, she made the picture. She was like, I cannot believe what's going on right now.
Yeah, I need to get the picture from my partner's phone because, yeah, it's a funny picture.
Yeah,
and you got to meet him. He's cool, isn't it? Like, yeah.
Yeah, they were asking us like, oh, did you guys know each other before? And he just looked at me like, I knew about her existence.
Exactly. He said, I knew of her. Yes. And for those who don't know, my first podcast before we had this one was with Snake FPV. So I don't know if there's still like traces of it online. It was fun, but then, but that's what made me want to do my own one. So here we go. Everything happens for a reason.
Mommy Universe was there.
Yes. Well, thanks for, coming on this episode and telling us a bit about your year. I feel like it's not just inspiring, like, how people say, oh, what an inspiring story. It is inspiring, but it's also quite realistic. And I don't know, it makes me happy to see how your life happened in the last 14 months. Obviously, it's not perfect yet. I know speaking of your lifestyle, it's not an easy lifestyle to never be in one place for a long time, to not have your
This may
own
change. We'll
house.
see.
It might change. I don't
Okay.
want to really talk about the future yet.
No, we're not.
But I'm saying, like, it's also hard work. Like, for people who follow you on Lexi Jansen, not Bayon High, but Lexi Jansen, they might see, all the beautiful pictures you take in all those locations. But these perks come with the almost like a no guarantee type of life. Like, you only plan for the next 6 months, and then you have a plan for after that. But it's not like me. Every morning I wake up, I know exactly what I'm going to do, so you don't have that luxury. And I find that at the same time inspiring, but also, I admire you because I've lived like that before, and I don't want to live like that again. So, it's not for everybody. That's my point.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Scary.
But yeah, looking forward to the future. We're gonna spend New Year's Eve together as well, so it's gonna be
Yay!
fun.
If she lets me out of the house.
Yes, I will. So we're gonna do that. The podcast, like I said, is going well. I was gonna talk about my year, but to be honest, it's pretty good. Like, like everybody, I had, like, this year some concerns, family health, these kind of things. But most of my year was actually quite peaceful.
You went to France.
I went to France, which was amazing. It was I wanted to film every minute of it, and I didn't film anything. I filmed things for me, and then most of them didn't have anything drone related. But I still would like to make a little video summary. So I don't know. We'll see where that goes. But it was a very peaceful year that I'm really grateful for, because I know 2023 was pretty harsh for lots of people for different reasons in the world. So I enjoyed a lot of that year, and things that were bad improved. So I'm happy. This, and I just want 2024 to be like this. Exactly like this. Let's hope. And for the podcast, so the podcast actually had a great year. Lexi made me realize the other day that I had goals that I reached, because I thought I didn't. Last time we spoke about goals was at the end of last year, and we said it would be great to reach about 500 listens per episode. And I like to be transparent on the podcast. So that was a goal, because I think when you are 500 listens per episode, you start being on a really nice tier of podcasts, even though there's millions of podcasts. So, but I wanted to have 500. And so, looking only at my audio ones, I was like, oh, I almost reached it, but not really, and not for every episode. And then Lexi was like, yeah, but you're on YouTube now too.
Yeah, what about the YouTube views?
And I was like, oh my God, totally. So if we add all the listens from all the platforms, including YouTube, we reached the goal. So thank you, guys.
Yay! Thank you, guys.
Where are the balloons when we need them?
Yay! No balloons.
No balloons.
Yay! No balloons. I don't know how it happened.
I don't know how it happened. I didn't touch it.
Is it like a gesture or something?
Maybe.
I don't know.
I'm looking at media now. Oh, I can add clapping. Hold on.
Clapping.
I just have to click play. Yeah, it didn't work. Well,
Okay.
I'll figure that out for next year.
We'll figure it out.
Next year is sound effect goal. But yeah, thanks everybody for listening to this podcast, because we reached the goal and I'm really happy, and I need to find another one for next year. So honestly, thank
1,000.
you. Oh Jesus, no, please. Well, who knows? Maybe.
My goals are a little bit audacious, okay?
Please don't put that kind of pressure on me.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm really happy, and so that pretty much conclude this episode. This was quite a laid back episode, with you just chilling in summer. So I don't think we're gonna have a break over the festive season. I'm really looking forward to keeping on the rhythm with the podcast. So I don't know who's gonna be the next guest yet, but also what I wanted to say is that I'm gonna open the podcast a bit more to other communities as well, not just the FPV communities, because I have friends who are part of other type of sports or hobbies, and I find them quite inspiring. And I was thinking it's Onigiri and Co. The name of the podcast. It's not Onigiri FPV. So we are going to invite more inspiring people and very cool, and they're my
Yay.
friends. So I like them and I want them on the podcast.
Yay! I'm
Yeah.
excited.
And this being said, I think it's the end of this episode. What do you think?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
So I hope we didn't down you guys.
No, I don't think it was negative at all.
Okay, good.
What are you up to after that, Lexi?
I'm gonna work.
You're gonna
Because
work?
I need to work as much as possible now
Yes.
until January, because then I want to have those 2 weeks of just creating content, not working on anything.
Yeah. So
Right.
only like photos and content capturing.
Yeah, so also I want to do like 30 days of non-stop content on both of my Instagrams. And there's gonna be a post every single day on both of my Instagrams. We're keeping the one video a week on My On High and then one video a week on Lexi Jensen. And as I said, like I said it kind of on my socials that I'm gonna separate My On High from Lexi Jensen a little bit more. So My On High will be obviously FPV stuff, tech, jet suits, flying cars, stuff like this. And then Lexi Jansen is all about this life of freedom, like how to ditch your 9 to 5, some travel stuff, pretty pictures. So I'm gonna be sharing more stuff on the Lexi Jansen as well. So I'm pretty happy to kind of separate it because I think I kind of confused the algorithm.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, so I'm gonna just separate them a little bit more. So yeah, if you want to follow the journey, just follow both of the channels really, because there's gonna be a lot going on. And yeah, kicking off the whole thing with the trip to New Zealand, which is FPV and non-FPV, because I'm gonna be in the little heaven of Lord of the Rings fans. And I love every second of it.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm really excited for what's gonna happen this year. I mean, I have everything planned until I think like March. So yeah, stressful.
You're gonna have a great year. I can feel it. The cards told it.
Yes, the card said it.
The card said it. And I hope everybody is gonna have a nice year, a nice end of the year. Thanks for listening to this episode.
Yeah.
If you liked it, what should they do, Lexi? You're better than me.
Yes. Thank you very much for listening to our podcast. And if you like it, don't forget to leave it a follow on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows. And if you're watching us on YouTube, leave us a like to help us make algorithm extremely happy. And also, don't forget to share this podcast with your friends who maybe are struggling at the end of the year or are struggling right now, to give them some inspiration of, hey, look, it can be changed. So I find that it helps me personally. So it's absolutely good. And when you do give us a follow on Instagram or YouTube or Facebook, whatever, on Onigiri and Co, or go to Onigiri FPV or My On High, just say hi, because we love when people say hi, and join our community on Onigiri and Co as well to get more updates and some behind the scenes and sometimes random messages that we send to the community instead of ourselves.
I did that in yours, in May Occult. I thought I was writing to you.
I didn't notice that you did not write to me. I actually wanted to answer like something, and then you said, "Oh my God, it's on your community." And I'm like, "Oh."
So, yeah, and like 300 people saw it, and I'm like, this is not the goal.
Oh well.
Oh well.
Fine.
Anyway, take care, everybody. I'll see you and speak to you in 2 weeks' time. And in the meantime, we wish you a lot of chocolate and happy flying.
Yes, happy flying and happy New Year.
Yeah, see you guys.
Bye.
Bye.